A fish here from It Came From GenX with Skinner and Porterhouse. On this episode, online technology. Is it too much? Is it taking our lives over too much? The Navy is going to have a ship that shoots lasers. Star Wars? Stay tuned. The NFL season gets going. A lot of exciting games and devastating injuries so far. This day in music history includes who are some of your favorite teen idols? We discuss. Disney 23 convention. A lot of exciting stuff. A lot of exciting shows, movies. Stay tuned. This week in pop culture history, Bewitched debuted. So we talk about some of our favorite 60s comedies growing up as kids. And Keith says it's okay to call the police on black people if they commit crimes. Stay tuned.
This is an It Came From GenX video.
Hey everybody, welcome to It Came From GenX. Another fun ride with the boys, Michael Skinner, Brian Fisher, and I am Keith Porter. We are three friends, 30, 35 years plus going now. Started together, putting our own little football show together. It evolved through this show, a look at life through the eyes of Gen Xers. We cover subjects such as sports, music, world news, and pop culture, and we hope that you laugh, learn, love, even get a little angry, and tell us all about it. Let's say hello to the fellas. Skinbone, what's going on, my brother?
Good evening, sir.
It is a good evening indeed.
Good.
How was your weekend?
For Ohio Sports Weekend, it was fantastic.
It really was good. See our boys in the scarlet and gray go out there and lay the wood on Arkansas State. I don't like the fact they got jumped in the ratings, but we'll talk about that maybe a little bit later. So, yeah, definitely good weekend. How about you, Fish? What's happening, brother?
Hey, man. Great weekend. Skinner mentioned my daughter's birthday and his daughter's birthday coming up this Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So went out Saturday. My mom and Peyton and her boyfriend Joey went out to Wolf Creek Winery. Great afternoon. Just a beautiful, perfect day. Nice time together. Real good. And then yesterday, Sunday, went to the Akron German Fest, the Oktoberfest. Not German Fest, the German Club.
Out there.
Yeah, that was really nice with Nick. I do the Convincing Idiots, and his family. Dean was out of town, but yeah, real nice time. A lot of quality friend time this weekend and family time as well.
That's great. This time of year, the weather is just absolutely perfect. I mean, you just can't beat it. It's not too hot, and you can do pretty much anything you want. Cool. Yep. I had a fantastic weekend. I was out with my church on Saturday, sponsored by Hallie's House. An organization I founded to pass out gift bags to the homeless. It is extremely rewarding, but it is very painful at the same time. Just tragic stories. Lots of people out there just in dire need. We were able to give out a lot of clothes. We had brand new shoes. I mean, there was ladies sleeping under trees right here, in our hometown of Akron, Ohio. You wouldn't think that situation was this close. So we are really excited about that, and we're looking forward to getting back out there again. So, all right, guys, we got a great show. We are coming to you on Boss Code Media as well as some other places. We're excited about that. So, Fish, tell them all about it.
Absolutely. Well, Keith already mentioned you might be watching us on Boss Code Media Network. Find us out there on streaming devices, Roku TV, Fire TV, Fire Stick, Apple TV very soon, and your smart devices. Just find the Boss Code Media Network app, download for free, and there's plenty of content in there, original content by many creative folks, including our own channel, Came From GenX, And also my other podcast, Convincing Idiots, is in there too on the podcast channel. So go check them out. You might be listening to us on WMBU.org, Global Internet Radio, Mondays from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Just pull them up online or their app also. And live listen, and we are there every Monday evening for you. Plus, they have other fine content, free music, and other shows also. Listen to us whenever you want on demand. Full episodes on major podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. Just pull up the podcast feed, subscribe or follow, however the feed works. And as we publish new episodes, they'll pop into your podcast library whenever you wish to listen to us on the go or otherwise. All show information can be found in two main places. Our Linktree account, it came from GenX, Linktree, or Linktree came from GenX. Either way will work, and it's simply a page with links to our social media and some places you can watch and listen to us, and our website at camefromgenx.wordpress.com. All show information is there, links to episodes, links to videos, bios. And if you like our stuff, consider becoming a Patreon. Sponsor the show, patreon.com/itcamefromgenx. And finally, if you like our stuff, tell a friend. Share, like, subscribe, follow. And that's how we grow a little bit. And we appreciate your support out there. Thank you very much.
Yes, we do. Thanks a lot, Fish. And before we go any further, since we are on TV and the internet, you guys might want to take a minute. Both of you got some serious crap on your webcams. If you want to take a minute to clean that off.
What, the Browns attire?
Oh, yeah. Okay, is that what that is? Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Cheers. Cheers, my friend.
Is that what that is? Wow.
Well, I can't wear my primary team, the Cowboys. We'll talk about that later. But
that's pretty bad. Well, you don't want to wear your primary team and you wear the Browns. That is really rough.
Boy, times have changed. That's for sure, boy.
Man, that's some tough sledding right there.
Yes, indeed.
Wow, that's just like your hero going from Dr. Martin Luther King to Jeffrey Dahmer, right?
So before we get started, I want to shout out, Brian had mentioned both our daughters' birthdays on Wednesday. Peyton's going to be 22.
Yeah.
And Madison, my fourth child, is going to be 21 years old this coming Wednesday. So shout out to those two beautiful young ladies. Madison just got word that she's got strep throat, so she's now going to have to hold off on her celebrating for a little while. But also,
I love her, but stay away from me.
Shout out to Desmond from B.O.S.S TV, does the reason. Chris Salvas Dominic from MVU.org, and of course the boss behind the scenes that makes us old geezers sound good. My pride and joy, Michael Skinner Jr. Thank you for all you do, son. With that, we'll start with some world news.
Take it away, brother.
We're going to go into the college ranks of football for a little bit here and actually talk about a company by the name of Paciolan. They are a digital ticketing firm who handles 125 clients throughout college athletics. So, nowadays you can't just hold your ticket up and they scan it and you walk in the door. You have to have your phone and go through all this and then show them your phone in order to get in. Well, that system went down on Saturday and did not come back up till 4:30 in the afternoon. So if you know anything about football, you have your 12 noon starts, and then you have your 3:30, 4 o'clock starts. So the first two sets of games for several teams, notably Nebraska, Oklahoma, Georgia Tech, Pitt, UCLA, Wisconsin, Michigan, Cincinnati, all of those kids and alumni went to the game had to go into their emails and print up something off their email and bring that instead of scanning off their phone. So got me to thinking, remember when we were kids, we couldn't wait to have your parents buy the tickets, whether it was with me, it was Cleveland Indians. I didn't see a Browns game in person until I was 19 years old. So even then at 19, you buy the tickets. Either you call on the phone and you took care of it that way, or you went to the box office and they did that. But if you did it on the phone, they mailed you your tickets, and then you've got these nice little tickets, something for momentum, and it doesn't work that way anymore. Curious to see what you guys think about all the way things are nowadays. And I know the first when I went to a Browns game 2 or 3 years ago, when they first started doing the by phone, the readers that they were using, if there was any type of glare on your phone, and if you're there for a 1 o'clock game, the sun's right above you, they could not get these things to scan the first time around that they started using these. So they had to fix the technology with that. But I'm just curious what you guys have to think about all that. Mr. Porter, we can't hear you.
It is amazing that you brought this up because I was just thinking about something along these lines today. An experience I had at the bank. I had to open up a new checking account. And, I've noticed over the things that I do over the internet, some of the things I log into or some of the things I pay, it just boggles my mind of how much trouble you're in if you're not part of the tech-savvy world. If you don't have a smartphone and a good smartphone. I opened up a new checking account today, and in order to get everything verified, they had to send me text me a code number. And I've seen this with other places, right? And I get the code number, and then I can, boom, it's verified and put it in. What if I didn't have a cell phone? And that's going on with a lot of places. Fisher and I both go down to Planet Fitness a lot, which, by the way, I got back at the gym the other day.
I saw that,
too. Yeah. You got to pull up the barcode on your cell phone from the app to scan to get into the gym now.
Yep.
What do you do when you don't have a phone? And not just a phone, but a good phone. I'm fortunate enough to have an iPhone, and I got an Android phone too. And I don't know why. I think I'm going to use it for something, but I reactivated it. It had belonged to my mom. I had got it for her. And, man, just using that thing, I feel like I am in some kind of a time warp. It is so slow. But that's the normal speed of a normal phone. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, and everybody can afford an iPhone or a really good Samsung or something. Your average phone out there, it's just like, oh my gosh, just waiting for things to come on. So it just boggles me right now how much we have to rely on this type of technology because everything's going to it. Boom, sign in with your phone. Or we have to send you a 6-digit number. We have to text it to you. Now, some you have the option for email, but what if you don't use email? There's a lot of people out there who just let the tech world kind of pass them by right now. And I really, really fear for them because this is really, really kind of crazy. So that's the only thoughts that I have on this. I remember getting tickets. I remember being tickets left for you at Wilco and things like that. And I remember saving tickets. That was the fun part about it, saving your tickets or getting the tickets signed by a sports star or a musician, something like that. So it's just the times we live in.
It's funny you talk about saving tickets. I went to Nolan Ryan's last baseball game when he out in Seattle, Washington. When I was in the military, he played his last game against Seattle when he was with the Texas Rangers. And anybody that knows baseball knows Nolan Ryan was one of the best pitchers to ever play the game. And I was there at his last game. And on my trip home from active duty to come back home in the military, the ticket got lost. So I missed out on that. So it's funny that you brought that up.
Fish?
Yeah, it's like you say, it's just the world we live in. There was something to the experience of getting dropped off at the mall, standing in line with kids as teenagers and getting your tickets.
Very exciting.
It was like a whole event, and then, you weren't going to get it. You could sort of trust the system, if you will, because you were in line. I mean, it was just you were there. You had to wait your turn. And now buying tickets online, like you say, there's all kinds of different factors. First of all, they get sucked up so quickly by a lot of these resellers, and they jack up the prices, and you got to shop around online to find tickets that aren't so crazy. And I don't know. But on the other side of it is, I mean, like you say, if you have a cell phone, on the plus side, it definitely is convenient in. You don't got to worry about losing the ticket as long as you have access to your phone and you have a signal, obviously a Wi-Fi signal. You can get into the venue and all that stuff. But I don't know. But you're right, Keith. I mean, just anymore, it's I carry less and less cash. There's not many things that you need cash for these days. Barely at all. It's just different.
Well, hell,
but like you say, my mom is not savvy at all with a smartphone. She has to 100% rely, for the most part, on old school checks, calling into the customer service to get her balance, and different stuff like that. She'll never, be able to adjust to that. And like you say, it just as every generation sort of passes on, it's just going to get more and more ingrained into our life, into our culture. Sorry, Skinner, what were you going to say?
That's all right. You're talking about cash. When we were at Cedar Point, it is a cashless place. You can only purchase things with credit or Apple phone, your Apple Pay or credit card. You cannot use cash. They don't have cash registers anymore.
Planet Fitness is the same way,
Yeah. We went to Lock 3 for that concert a few weeks ago. I went to purchase some tickets. There was a raffle going on for, I think it was WONE, and you had to use a debit card. They wouldn't take cash to buy these raffle tickets. So it's just amazing how the cash no longer is being accepted in a lot of places.
Yep.
All right, thanks for the story, man.
Mm-hmm.
You got
one other quick story before we get in there. We were talking beforehand. The Navy has purchased a contract to have a $2.3 billion destroyer being made, and there's going to be more than one. Now, this thing is going to take place of the current ones that have been in Navy's fleet for 40-some years now. This thing is going to shoot lasers and hypersonic missiles. Hypersonic, I can't imagine how fast these things are supposed to be, but the laser thing is fascinating to me. Incoming missiles, whether it's going, no matter what, they're going to be able to shoot lasers from these destroyers to knock out these missiles in the air. Before you had Scud missiles that were being sent during the Iraq War, and we had, I forget what the name of the missiles were, that they were shooting from the destroyers and it would catch them up in the air. But now they're going to be able to shoot lasers. And you made a point, Keith, when we were talking about this before the story, and I probably should let you do it, but the Star Wars of today's day and age is starting to go into effect, and you talk a little bit more about that with Ronald Reagan. But thought it was interesting, being a military guy, that the technology is getting more and more crazy and more incredible. Use crazy and incredible in the same sentence with what's going on with these destroyers. And I don't even know what today's military looks like anymore.
All right, it's I'll bet you wouldn't even recognize it.
Mm-mm.
The incredible thing is, the longer you live, you see art imitate life, and life imitate art. As far as the scientific world has gone, we have certainly seen it both ways. We have seen the creations of Star Trek. That was the art, and now it's part of life with cell phones and all this other stuff. Now you're talking about lasers, weaponized lasers. This has been something of the scientific sci-fi movie, TV show world, for how many years now. And now you're actually talking about a realistic vessel using lasers to defend our country. Now, the Star Wars program Ronald Reagan proposed this in 1983, and it was just basically a missile defense system to protect the United States from ballistic missiles. It's the use of satellites. This was the outer space program. It had a lot of ridicule, and it was actually designed to render nuclear weapons obsolete. It's really funny. I hear a lot of people talk about a lot of things Ronald Reagan proposed are just now coming into effect. That's something interesting to look into. I was a political science major, and if I was still in school, I would probably do a paper on that. But it's fascinating to even think about, but it's scary. The rail gun, that's a real thing. Have you seen any of the videos on that? And that's shooting a projectile at Mach something, utterly incredible. This is definitely even more fascinating. I would like to know the range on these missiles, which has to be incredible to shoot down missiles, the range on the lasers. I can't even imagine what that looks like. The joules, the energy it takes. Fascinating stuff. Bish?
Yeah, I'm with you. It's fascinating and scary at the same time. So as you build up the defense on these lasers, you're right. Just they're going to continue to try to advance the missiles to get past those lasers, and it's just going to continue. Next thing you know, they're going to blow up all around, guys.
Yeah, they will, man.
Sooner or later.
The Death Star is coming next. It is. I mean, look, that's what the Death Star was. And here's the point.
Yep.
There's always saying, and I don't want to be gross, but don't pee in my face and tell me it's rain. Anything you build for defense, you're going to build it for offense too.
Sure.
You're not going this just to defend. No, you're going to use it too. So hey.
Right.
Wow. That's just crazy stuff. Thanks, Skinner. Interesting stories, man. All right, guys, you ready for a little bit of sports and music? Definitely got to start with the sports. As you can see, I am wearing
crap.
Beautiful crest of the Pittsburgh Steelers as you guys sit there with dirt on your heads and chests. Opening day. Well, we had Thursday, but opening Sunday football, NFL started. It was a opening day to remember. Some crazy games. As we said, you guys are wearing your Cleveland Browns. Your beloved Browns had a heck of a game. Jacoby Brissett starting. Baker Mayfield made his threats. Could you ask for any better than the first game be against Baker Mayfield? I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. And it was a crazy game. And just when he looked like he was going to pull it off, the darn kickers. But
the rookie kicker comes to save the day.
Yeah, isn't that something? So, kudos to the Browns for getting that big win. Brissett didn't look great, but he looked. He got the job done, and Cleveland's just going to get better. That's the thing about, you don't want to go crazy over day one games. Of course, the Cincinnati Steelers game, nobody had the Steelers winning that game. That was the craziest game of the day without question. I didn't have it televised. I was watching the game cast on my computer, and when they said, Cincinnati scored to tie it up with 2 seconds left, I said, oh, crap, they blew it in the end. Just got to kick the extra point. When that computer popped up, said missed extra point, I about fell out of my seat. That game aged me about 3 years. So it was a really fun day. Of course, your Cowboys fish. Bad night for both of us. Actually, we did win, but at a serious cost. TJ Watt lost for the season. And, of course, Dak Prescott will be out for several weeks, too. So, that really, really hurt. So thoughts about opening day. I don't like saying opening day. That's more of baseball. First day of the NFL season. And, of course, we got a fun announcement to make after that. Fish?
I watched most of the game Sunday night, Tampa Bay at Dallas. Just horrible. Dallas looked anemic on offense.
I was going to use that same word. Why does it look so hard to move the ball other than a weak receiver core?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. Elliott's not the Elliott of a few years ago. It's just, I don't know. They're not creating a lot of holes for the backs. They don't have the and this Prescott did not look good. Now I don't know. He did hurt his hand toward the end of the game. He's got, like you say, 6 to 8 weeks for hand surgery. I have a splint or something in a thumb or something along that line. So season's pretty much lost already. But it just looked bad. So McCarthy, this is it. I mean, I think this is. I think they're gonna ride this season out and do what they can. And Cooper Rush will have an opportunity. Maybe he can land a contract after this season. At least he'll come in with some energy, the backup. But I think this is it. I think that McCarthy, they're done, if not even during the season, after the season, and they're going to hire. And Jones is going to go after Sean Payton.
It was the dumbest hire. It was the dumbest hire to me, because if you didn't get Sean Payton, you needed to get one of these young hotshot coaches out of college, or one of these young hotshot coordinators in the NFL, because the game has passed McCarthy by.
Absolutely.
It's plain to see. It's so obvious to see.
They were not ready to play.
Yeah,
they were not ready to play. And it's a lot of penalties. Go on and on and on. It's on and on. So right. Forget it. Yep.
Skidder, any thoughts?
What I got out of the weekend, not just necessarily wins and losses, but how exciting we were, how exciting the game Thursday to watch Buffalo Bills and the Rams play. And then that excitement went right straight into the first set of games on Sunday. All those games were pretty exciting. We pay attention to our teams, Browns, Bengals, the Browns, Steelers, San Francisco played against Chicago, the Dallas Cowboys at night. So we all had games of interest, but it kept us together during those games, because you and I were texting all night long on Thursday. And then, of course, I was keeping you up to date on Sunday with the Steelers. They went over to the Steelers game on CBS after Browns game's done. So I got out of the excitement, the fun that the NFL brought back to not only me, but to us as a family.
Absolutely.
And I'm looking forward to week 2.
Yeah, it was great. One of the things I got out of it was the projected powerhouses of this season were as advertised. Buffalo looked darn right scary, and it was not even a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination.
No,
but they're only going to get better. It was week 1.
Yep.
Jeez, we got to attend with that one. And Kansas City, no Tyreek Hill. Okay, no problem. I'll go out and toss 5 tutties. I mean, just come on, man. Really? On the road too, and these guys just got it right, man. You got to have a quarterback that's mobile, that's exciting, and that can push that ball downfield. You just got to do it. So we'll see if anybody can match that intensity. But right now, it looks like the power is going to be in the AFC again. Buffalo, Kansas City. I really didn't see anybody that impressed me that much except those two, I think Philly's going to have a lot to say.
They had a good week.
Yeah, and Miami is wow.
Yeah,
they had a lucky week.
Couple of greyhounds on the outside, though, and if I was Miami, I would just run those guys, push that defense downfield, and put either 2 tight ends or use a tight end and a running back and dink and duck all in the middle, man. Just eat teams alive, because nobody can catch Waddle and Tyreek Hill. That's just too much speed. So we're glad the NFL is back. And the exciting announcement, folks, It Came From GenX was born out of our baby reality football. We started that show a few years ago. Just 4 of us. There's a 4th musketeer, Coach Cooper, having fun, sitting around, talking football. Our second season, we were put on the radio, WMBU.org. Thank you, Christavis. And this show, when the off season came, this show was born and just took us to new heights. But we are going to be bringing back reality football in a shorter segment and a kind of a different fun format. And so we're looking forward to that, starting with week 1 coming up here in a few days. So reality football is coming back. Okay, guys, college football, Ohio State Buckeyes. I don't like the fact how they got moved back from 2 to 3. And I was hoping that they would move Alabama after barely surviving Saturday. And they did.
Did you see the end of that game
Yeah. With Saban yelling.
How do you miss that sack on Bryce Young? You had him right there.
You gotta close.
Why do you go for the pads when you just take out his feet and the game's over?
Fundamentals, man. Fundamentals. They'll cost you every time.
Man.
They'll cost you every time. So it was good to see our Buckeyes stretch their legs a little bit. And we did that, of course, without Jackson Smith and Jigba, who was hurt. But
I'm glad.
We've got receivers to go. So looking forward to your party coming up, Skinner. Any thoughts real quick before I move on the college world, Fish?
Yeah, no more to add. You already mentioned.
All right. Okay, guys, let's get to a little bit of music. Man, I want to start off with this day in music. And got some interesting things happen today. First of all, we start in 2003. We lost one of the greatest, one of the coolest. He wasn't part of the pop world, the cool world. He was just cool. Johnny Cash died at the age of 71, respiratory failure. In 2003, he was known as the Man in Black. We've talked about Johnny Cash before. I mean, people just like him because he had a unique voice. His story is amazing, and he was just darn right cool. Like Johnny Cash, Skinbone?
Oh, yeah, he's one of my favorites.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you brought up George Jones, Johnny Cash. That era of country music is incredible. But Johnny's story, if you've not seen it, River Phoenix does a nice job with Reese Witherspoon. I can't remember the name of it. Is it Walk the Line.
Yeah,
Walk the Line. There you go. That tells a little bit of his story, but if you've not heard it, you definitely want to go check it out.
You know what's weird, though? I have never, ever related Johnny Cash with country music.
Really?
He just sings something completely different. His own category to me.
Right. Well, I can see that, but he was definitely...
Fish?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Very interesting. Okay. Also, guys, this day in, how about we go down to 1966, and I'm going to say this because this is going to segue into something Fish has later, but the Monkees TV show aired in the United States, total of 58 episodes, so keep that in mind. We'll get back to that. 1964, the Supremes, Marvin Gaye, and the Temptations were all on the same bill. Now, this bill also included the Ronettes, the Springfield, the Shangri-Las, Little Anthony and Imperial, a lot of those minor groups. But, of course, the heavy hitters were the Supremes, Temptations, and Marvin Gaye. That had to be a spectacular show. But in 1954, the first teen idol, Frank Sinatra, he was at number one in the UK singles with 3 Coins in a Fountain. That song later went on to win an Academy Award for Best Original Song for the movie. And when I saw that he was the first teen idol, it just got me thinking, wow, do we even have teen idols anymore? And I thought it would be cool if we would pick who was or is our favorite teen idol and why, or just one we like. So, Skinbone, we'll give a start with you.
Okay. I kind of had 2 to mind, and if you're talking teen idols as far as music or Hollywood in general, I'm going to stick with Hollywood, and mine's Mark Hamill. As a young kid, Mark Hamill was the most incredible person that I knew, being Luke Skywalker.
Interesting. Okay.
Everything that I had to do. Hey, you've got a visitor there, Fish.
my cat Eclipse is making a special appearance on video. Yes, hey, buddy.
But Mark, to me, in 1978, as a 7-year-old kid, was just the epitome of cool. Wanted to be him. Wanted to have the lightsaber. Wanted to be able to fight Darth Vader. It was just
that's kind of a cool pick. I like that.
Yeah. Okay? So that would be mine.
Very interesting. I can see that. He was young. He got the role of a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
He was in something that captures the imagination of everybody. Absolutely, very cool. Fish.
Yeah, I'm thinking of this like music artist growing up here. I always like Donny Osmond.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just, he was talented. He had a great voice. It just, everything you see him on back then and even today, he just seems like one of the nicest guys out there.
Always seemed genuine. Hasn't changed a bit. Him or his sister. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Marie's the same. I agree. I watched it
all over the 70s. Yeah, exactly. I used to watch that too. The Donnie Marie show sometimes.
I'm a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll. Yeah,
that's right. So give me Donny Osmond.
Yeah, I've always liked Donny Osmond. Everything I've seen him in, he seemed like the same person from when he was a kid on to now. Just like a really cool guy, and definitely a big fan of Marie Osmond. I had to pick two guys. I'm going to start off with the ultimate teen idol for me was Michael Jackson.
Sure.
We got to him as a younger kid. It was when he really, made his mark, and then he got older, and he was just somebody who was doing some incredible stuff. He got into acting, into the Wiz, and obviously we didn't realize how amazing he was until the Thriller album came out. But I can't believe I'm going to say this, but when I was younger, I wanted to be Leif Garrett.
Sure. Okay.
I saw Leif Garrett I saw him on some kind of top show. I can't remember what it was. Hips or something. And when I saw the dude, the leather jacket, the singing, I mean, it was just like a modern day Elvis to me or something. I wanted to be. I used to stand in the mirror and sing that song. I ain't going to do it for you now, but those are two of the teen idols that I used to like. So,
hey, I guarantee a lot of women in our generation as girls, as young girls, probably had either or both Sean Cassidy and Leif Garrett posters of some sort, or pinups or something in their room as a little girl. I guarantee
it. And maybe Andy Gibb.
And yes, that's another one. Yep.
Okay. Hey, quick music birthdays today, guy. Jennifer Hudson, one of my favorite singers, and she's a fantastic actress as well. I loved her as Effie White in the music Dreamgirls, or musical. It's actually a musical. If you haven't seen Dreamgirls, I mean, it is just pure enjoyment. Jamie Foxx is in it, so you might not want to watch it. Eddie Murphy is just amazing in that movie. But Jennifer Hudson was one of the finalists on American Idol in the 3rd season. American Idol's done a lot for the careers of a lot of its contestants. Who do you think who's had the best career from American Idol, or who do you like the most that stem from that show? Fish?
Well, Jennifer Hudson's definitely up there. I used to watch that show pretty religiously when it first came on for a few seasons there. And I remember seeing Jennifer Hudson was just like, wow, I couldn't believe she didn't win. I don't think she won.
No,
but she was just a force. But
who sang better than her, right?
I know, but the blonde country singer that sings the Monday Night Football.
Carrie Underwood. Yeah.
She probably has the biggest. Well, Jennifer Hudson has made a big in acting though too. So those two are definitely. I would say it's
neck and neck. Yeah.
And Kelly Clarkson's way up there too, certainly. But I think those two ladies, Jennifer Hudson and you just said her name.
Carrie
Underwood. Yeah, they probably have the biggest career overall. Those two ladies. So.
Okay. All right. Skinner.
I didn't watch the show very much, but I remember Daughtry, he goes by, rocker, has had a pretty nice career coming from American Idol.
True.
And of course, I think Kelly Clarkson's probably up there just as much as those other two ladies that you're talking about.
Yeah, she's doing really good. Got her own little talk show now. So, there's kind of few people. I thought Jordan Sparks was going to have a great career, but every time I seen her, she's like she just had a freaking attitude, man. I don't know what was wrong with her. Fantasia Barrino's done good. And of course, Adam Lambert to get a gig with Queen.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
That's pretty amazing. But the one person that I like, who really didn't get what you would call a singing career, but he got a great gig and he's making some serious money. Justin Guarini. And you know what role he plays? Little Sweet on the Dr. Pepper commercials. That's Justin from American Idol.
Oh, really?
So to think,
Oh my God!
Yeah,
Really?
you work your life off to be, have a career in singing. You get on the biggest singing competition show in the world, and you get a gig going Little Sweet, Dr. Pepper commercials. But I'll take it, man. If it's paying the bills, baby, I'll take it. So I thought that was kind of a little interesting to see that. So, also, guys, birthdays today. Neil Peart, drummer from the Canadian rock band Rush. Obviously, one of my favorites, being a drummer. He was born this day in 1952. If you want to see some incredible Rush video, go online and check out the tribute to Taylor Hawkins, the drummer from Foo Fighters that recently passed away. Rush performed with Omar Hakim playing drums, and it was just awesome. Also, guys, Barry White, the great Barry White, 1944. Man, Barry White would just make the women drop, just with his voice.
Yeah. Smooth voice, man.
Yeah, and I haven't heard a voice that had that effect since I heard Five Finger Death Punch do the Bad Company remake. So Barry White, born 1944 this day, and 1931, George Jones. Skinner mentioned that earlier. To me, I thought he was just one of the last of the great country voices, country performers, the outfits. George Jones was just absolutely incredible to me. And Skinner, you were saying you thought he was a little bit underappreciated.
Mm-hmm. I think he was underappreciated because he was during the time of Johnny Cash and Hank Williams and a lot of the other ones. George Strait was another one that was when he was early on. So I think he got overshadowed a little bit. But George Jones was an incredible country artist. Everybody and anybody in country music looked up to him. So,
okay. Any thoughts on George Jones' voice, Fish?
I like his stuff. I mean, like I said before, to me, all that stuff in the 70s, that country stuff, that's country music for me.
Yes,
the sound, the voices, the steel guitars, and all that. I'm not as big a fan as far as like the practically rock music, quote unquote, country as a lot of people are today. So,
right now, obviously, guys, I don't drink, but when I used to drink, when I listen to George Jones' voice, it reminds me of Crown Royal out of the freezer.
There you have it.
It's so smooth.
Okay.
It doesn't go down. It doesn't go up. It's just smooth.
I like that. Yeah.
All right.
Good analogy.
Thank you.
We'll use that for the podcast slogan, perhaps.
Yeah.
As smooth as Crown Royal out of the freezer. Yep.
Yes. All right, guys. That's it for sports and music. Let's get some pop culture.
Smart little witch, you've conjured up the most luscious smelling stew. Lovely meat, marvelous carrots, tender peas, and those teeny tiny potatoes. No, Mother, it's all here in new kennel ration stew. For dogs? Well, I know it smells like stew for people, but it's stew for dogs. Oh, well, in that case, I think I'll change into... Oh, Mother, really?
Bewitched has been brought to you by the growing family of products of the Quaker Oats Company.
All right, guys, let's start out here. How about some Gen X media recommendations? Anything you saw or heard or read or something like that you wish to recommend to our listeners on podcast or WMVU or viewers on Boss Code Media or YouTube out there, guys? So, Keith, you got a big one here. You've been chomping at the bit here to.
I have. I couldn't wait to get back to the show for this recommendation. I've loved all my recommendations, but none as strong as this one. Oh, well, other than the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. But I watched a movie on Netflix the other day, and I always look the movies up before I watch them. So, see what was said about them and everything. And here's the irony. I looked up this website, and not only did it wasn't give it a bad recommendation, but it listed that others had gave it a bad recommendation. Said that the plot wasn't fresh and all this other stuff. But man, this is why you got to do stuff for yourself. But the movie Sweet Girl on Netflix with Jason Momoa.
Okay.
One of the best. My sister watched it. She goes, "That is the best movie I have seen in a long time." My niece told me the same thing. I'm telling you, it is an incredible story, and I don't remember seeing a story like this. And it related to me so much. They were in Pittsburgh. They mentioned the Steelers and the family's name, Jason Momoa's family. They were the Coopers. I just felt very close to this movie. And he's married, has a young daughter. He's a survival trainer, a survivalist trainer, and his wife gets cancer. They're a very happy family. She gets cancer. They're told about an experimental drug that's probably going to cure her. He's so excited. And then right before she gets the drug, the CEO of this company just pulls it off the market. He takes a bribe to take it off the market, and his wife ends up dying. And he's pretty ticked off, as you can imagine. And years later, he gets a call from a newspaper reporter that wants to meet with him and says that this was all done. Some illegal stuff took place and his wife didn't have to die. And he wants to tell him, we need to take this company down. One of the most incredible twists that you're going to pause it. You're going to say, shut the front door. You're going to think back and say, wait a minute. Now it all makes sense. I didn't see this coming. You're going to do all that stuff. And a great ending. Sweet Girl. Jason Momoa at Netflix. Check it out.
Okay, very good. Skinner?
Haven't watched anything new. Cobra Kai dropped, I think on Friday.
Yeah.
Watched the first episode. And, I recommend, obviously, any Gen Xer that watch The Karate Kid.
Right.
And I think we've talked about it on this show maybe early on. Cobra Kai is pretty incredible, and they brought a character from the movie.
Don't tell me.
Not going to tell you who, but he's becoming a predominant character for season 5. So
excellent.
It's interesting to see how they're going to turn this one on. But Cobra Kai on Netflix.
They brought back everybody but Miyagi.
Right. Well, I can't bring him back.
Yeah, please don't.
Yeah, I'm with you, Skinner. So I've watched a few episodes now of Cobra Kai season 5. I just love it. Cobra Kai season 5. It's just the length of each episode is very watchable. 30 minutes or so. You could easily sit down and binge a few episodes, which I did actually last evening. I watched like 3 or 4. As a matter of fact, I shut off the damn Dallas game in the fourth quarter and said, I'm done. And was early, much more entertained by Cobra Kai season 5 than watching the Dallas Cowboys. But they do such a great job with it. All the acting is great. The storylines are good. Just like the last few seasons, they understand what it takes to hook you in and keep twisting the story. And they're very true to the original content. They keep show original clips, and like you say, they keep bringing back characters from the movies. Just great fun. So thoroughly recommend Cobra Kai season 5. I think they just have one more season after this one, and I think they're going to close it out. And still enjoying She-Hulk. I'm current with She-Hulk. You just have to have the mindset of this is not intended to be anything serious whatsoever at all.
I enjoy one of the minor characters of the last episode, Madison? Whoever played that role, she was hysterical. The young lady that got sent to the demon world, the other, yes. And then they brought her into court. She was that's Madison with 2 N's and a Y, but it's not where you think. And then when they brought her into court, she called Wong the Sorcerer Supreme Wongers.
Yeah, so good.
She was awesome.
So good. Yeah, and
I gotta watch it. I've only watched that first episode. I haven't gone back to it yet.
And She-Hulk twerking with Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh my gosh! Really?
That's the level that this is it. So if you want something serious, don't even bother attempting to watch it.
But it's so enjoyable.
So just a lot of fun. This is definitely interesting what they're doing with that. So okay, very good. The Emmys are tonight as we speak, so we'll talk more about that later. Yeah, they're going right now. I caught this here. So Velma Dinkley, Velma from Scooby-Doo. We all knew who Velma is on the Scooby-Doo show. She's a character on an online game, Multiversus. It might be a smartphone game. I don't know, but it's an online game. Okay. One of her things that she could do in the game is call the police on characters, any character apparently. So she picks up clues or something like that. Anyhow, it caused quite the stir because some folks didn't like the fact that she could call the police on black characters in the game. So much so they were calling Velma a Karen because they're calling the police on black characters in the game, like LeBron James apparently is in the game from his character in Space Jam. And they had to change the game. They changed the game to where when she makes a phone call in the game, she calls the Mystery Machine, the crew, the gang, and they come and all that type of stuff. So it caused a little stir on social media. Some people say, "Hey, I'm glad they changed it." Other people are saying, "Hey, come on, man. It's not like they designed the game for Velma to call the police on black people. It's just part of the game. You guys are taking this too far." So again, a little bit more sort of cancel culture into, I don't know. If she only could call on black characters, okay, that would be completely wrong, improper, shouldn't do it. But that's not.
You should call on LeBron James because he's stealing from the Lakers.
That's true. You're right about that. Good golly. So,
wow.
Is all this going too far, Keith? What do you think about all this? They had to change the video game because,
First, I want to say this to be fair. I am not going to comment on the video game specifically because I have not seen it. I have not played it, so I don't want to talk about something I don't know what I'm talking about. But I will say this. It's okay to call the police on black people if they're committing crimes.
Right.
I just want to put that out there, okay? It's okay.
Good call.
Wow. We got this thing going out now where it's just like, I'm glad, as a black man, black people have empowered themselves. I'm glad that technology has helped us to protect ourselves. This right here has changed everything.
Yeah.
It's changed everything. That camera on here has changed the game. It's changed the game with our police. It has helped hold them accountable, all these other things, but it has gone too far. It has gone too far. I watched some videos where there were just groups of black people screaming bloody murder over the police trying to make an arrest or whatever from somebody who was just doing dirt, who was attacking them, who was doing something heinous. And all I was hearing was, we're going to sue you. We want your piece number, this and that on black people, blah, 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 black this, black that. And I'm like, are you freaking serious right now? Because if I was there, I'd help the police. I watched a video, and matter of fact, I played it in church yesterday for my church. We talked about it. A young woman's tags came back. Her car was on the hot sheet as being stolen. Young black woman. What are they going to do? The police, this was the body cam footage. The police were being as cordial as they can be to this young lady. She was screaming from the top of her lungs during the entire video. Called them every name in the book. She told them, I hope you all burn in hell. They were explaining to her, sweetie, look, let me show you. See, it's on the hot sheet here. We're calling it in. We're trying to figure out what's going on. She didn't want to hear that. She called him every name. There was other people coming up at the police. They kept telling them to get back, act like they were going to attack them. They were just screaming all kind of racial things, racial this. Then she tried to take off in the car while they're investigating. And she wouldn't stop. And she almost ran over their feet. They finally had no choice but to arrest her. But they were all in the wrong. Look what you're doing to her. Look what you're doing to her. But she was kicking them, doing everything. We got to stop this stupid stuff. And it ain't just black people. It's people, period, who know that there's a cell phone involved. You know what? I'm so glad these abusive police officers are being held accountable and getting caught now. I am so glad about that. But I'm all for police officers going home at night, especially the good ones. You know what I'm saying? They can't even do their job anymore because of this nonsense. So I don't want to comment on the game. I haven't played it. But you know what? If there's black people on the game committing crimes, then call the police on them. That's the way it should be in real life. Anybody committing crimes, call the police on them. We got to stop being so freaking sensitive in this cancel culture stuff that everything is racial. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander.
Very good. Skinner, anything to add?
No, not after that. I don't have anything to add. Well put, Porter.
Okay. All right. All right, guys. If you want to smile, this picture is making social media right now. So the Disney recently had this D23 Expo where they're talking about changes to the parks and movies coming up and television shows and all that. There's a reunion of Indiana Jones and Short Round from way back in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. So Harrison Ford with K.Y. Kwan. Just a nice picture of those two hugging. I thought it was a really cute picture, nice photo. You can find it out there easily on social media. So update those. So Keith, like 2 weeks ago now, we've asked you about watching Raiders of the Lost Ark, which you have still not seen. So have you watched the movie 2 weeks later?
No, I have not watched it yet. I am getting to it.
Mm-hmm.
I am getting to it. It's on my list. I did watch Ferris Bueller's, so I'm getting to Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Okay. All right. So that's
progress.
We'll talk about Ferris Bueller's later.
Okay, then we'll get to Temple of Doom and all that later.
Right.
One step at a time.
Yes.
One step at a time here. Well, speaking of D23 announcements as well, Disney is such a force out there, and them acquiring Marvel. It's just really incredible here. But they've announced some tons of interesting and fun sounding shows that's going to air on Disney Plus. A couple that caught my eye. There's plenty out there. More High School Musical. This stuff for the whole family. Whatever you like, you're probably going to find something on Disney that you enjoy, and they keep the price down. It really is a good model for them. So I think Disney Plus is one of the better streaming services, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Of course, now we're not on there. It's not Boss Code Media with us. Okay.
Who does one of you turn into a superhero? We're on.
That's right. But a couple that caught my eye. So the Santa Clauses. Now this is going to air in November of this year. Get you in the holiday spirit. But Tim Allen's going to come back and reprise his role of Santa Claus for this series here. So he's an older man. He realizes he can't be Santa Claus forever. And he has two boys that are growing up. And so they're trying to, it sounds like they're trying to figure out who's going to take over the mantle of Santa Claus. That's going to be a mini-series coming up in, November 16th. Thought that was pretty cool. And the Muppets. We have not seen a new Muppet series. They had a short-lived series, I think ABC or something they tried to do. I think you can find that now on Disney Plus also. But this series is the Muppets Mayhem. It's coming next year. It's going to follow the Electric Mayhem band. So Dr. Teeth in Electric Mayhem with Animal and Ralph and all those fun characters, the band that always played on the Muppet Show. I love this concept, so I am interested. I love the Muppets, so I'm looking forward to these two. So just a couple that caught me. Again, there's tons of other stuff out there that looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then we talked about Andor before the show, the new Star Wars prequel. It's with the Rogue One characters that comes out actually next week. Awesome. So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff here. And some big names that Marvel is apparently signed for Marvel Phase 5 movies. No official word what these actors are going to be playing yet, but it's some big Hollywood names here. So Denzel Washington's coming in. I saw a rumor where he may play Dracula in the Blade movies. That could be very interesting. I like that a lot. And there's also rumors that Henry Cavill may play Dr. Doom.
Yeah, he's coming to the Marvel universe.
Yeah,
Coming
is that official? Is that official?
Don't know. It's official. He got a role. I
Dr.
can't remember
Doom?
what it was.
Okay, but yeah, he's definitely coming over. John Boyega, who is Finn, John Krasinski. I mean, almost assuredly going to reprise his role of Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four. I would assume, and some other big names as well out there as they're setting up X-Men and Fantastic Four and a few other storylines. So pretty exciting stuff there. I'm glancing at the time here. This week in pop culture history, gentlemen.
Quick,
so
Amelia
go
Clark,
ahead, please.
Amelia Clark from Game of Thrones, Daenerys Targaryen. She's also coming to the Marvel universe.
Very good. Yeah, they're getting some huge names. Huge names. So just more bad news for DC and more good news for Marvel. So what I see.
Right.
September the 12th, guys, all the way back in 1959 was the first color television show. Bonanza aired on NBC. So,
wow.
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting. I remember certainly not to comment on Bonanza necessarily, but that my dad watched that show every Sunday afternoon.
My mom didn't miss it.
Years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On September the 13th, we already mentioned some of this earlier. We mentioned Velma. Scooby-Doo debuted in 1969. Yes, absolutely. So, in my book, it was then, and still is one of my favorite cartoon series of all time, hands down. Yeah, obviously had tons of variations of Scooby-Doo, some interesting versions, modern versions, obviously movies and whatnot. But give me the original. I think you can find the original still on HBO Max. Matter of fact, I think they have all the Scooby-Doo animated shows, most of them, are on HBO Max. Keith, you going to say something?
I was going to say it's up there with me, but the Flintstones too.
Flintstones for sure.
Yeah.
I agree. Just too iconic. The Outer Limits also debuted in 1963. Now,
wow.
We talked about this prior. I mean, I'm a huge, and all of us are big Twilight Zone fans. I don't know that I really saw, for whatever reason, the Outer Limits. I don't know if I just wasn't exposed to it or couldn't find it. Yeah,
I didn't like it. I tried to watch it.
Why didn't you like it? What's?
It was just different. I think I was just so hooked on the Twilight Zone. I was too young to really get the concept of it. I'd probably like it now, but I was just such a Twilight Zone guy, and it didn't have the cool Rod Sterling guy. It was just something different.
Yeah, I need to go back and revisit that, find it somewhere. I'm sure it's out there at the very least on box set. Skinner, you Outer Limits person? No.
No, I didn't watch that show, unfortunately.
Okay. All right, and then September 17th, also in 1964, the debut of Bewitched. Obviously famous Elizabeth Montgomery, Dick York. We all, sort of our generation. Mm-hmm. A lot of us watched Bewitched. I know I used to watch that show on Channel 43 locally here in the Cleveland area. That was something I watched with my mom constantly. I remember at elementary school, we used to be able to walk home for lunch at the time. And it was like a little tradition there for a while. I'd walk home from lunch for a while and sit down there. Mom would have lunch ready, and we would watch Bewitched. And it was enough time to watch an episode of Bewitched and then head back to school. So that was a nice little routine for quite a while, watching that with Mom. So got me thinking, obviously our generation, we watched a lot of 60s reruns. We talked about some of our favorite sci-fi shows on a recent episode. Last week we talked about Sid and Marty Krofft shows. Yeah. That episode just dropped. So it got me thinking about what are some of your favorite sitcom or just comedy shows that we grew up watching that were from the 60s, and in their own right, they were probably prime time shows, of course. But we grew up watching the reruns, whether it be on 43 or Nick at Night or something along that line. So, Keith, what do you got? Give me your top couple, whatever you want to mention as far as the 60s reruns.
Without question, the Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah,
still watch it to this day, like I've never seen it before, and I've seen every single episode could probably say all the words right along with it. A lot of times my sister would be like, shut up. That's my number one. I enjoyed Hogan's Heroes.
Yep.
I just thought that was just a really, really cool concept. And
Clink.
Yeah, and I thought Hogan was cool because he had a leather jacket. So that was
so Bob Crane, he just looked cool.
Yeah, he just looked cool,
dude.
And he was a pervert, And of course, the original campy Batman. I mean, the best Batmobile ever. It was just cool, man. The bam, pow, bazoink. You just couldn't get any better than that. It is utterly ridiculous when you watch it today, but it was just the best show
ever. Right. It's insane.
Yeah, so those are just two right off the rip for me. I could go on and on and on, shows that I really love, but those are two that I watch. The Andy Griffith I watched today religiously.
Very good stuff. Skinner, how about you?
Yeah, he stole my thunder with Andy Griffith. I think that, to me, may be one of the best sitcoms of all time. It would be ranked up there, and it's in the conversation for all time. It's just incredible show. A couple of ones, the Dick Van Dyke Show. I grew up watching with my grandmother.
Yeah, I watched that.
Yep.
And another one was Gomer Pyle. My dad watched that pretty religiously, so I watched Gomer Pyle with him as well.
Great, yeah, that was great. And don't forget the Little Rascals, guys. I mean, it didn't get no better than that. Yeah,
they're on there too.
I want to say something real quick about the Andy Griffith Show. I brought this up one time in church. Well, just an interesting way to look at it. Everybody talks about Andy Griffith Show as this. It's like a really wholesome, good show, good family show, right? Think about it. What does Andy do every episode? He lies. He's a liar. He lies to Barney. He lies to criminals. He's a liar and a deceiver. Think about that the next time you watch it.
Okay. Interesting. So one of our classmates, guys from Kenmore, well, Keith, that one, Sarah full name, but Carmen, that you and I graduated with.
Yes.
I'm friends with her on Facebook, and she had put recent pictures that she visited the town of Mayberry. It's not whatever town is in South Carolina.
I would love that. Yeah.
And she took pictures of the set. So there's the jail they have for, they have it set up like the show. They have this desk. They have the cell with the TV and all that. It looked very, very cool. So just maybe
I could lose myself there like for a whole day. I would love that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So she said it was a very nice, peaceful town. So that's one of my tops two, guys, the Andy Griffith Show. That's another one I used to watch with Mom. And like you said, just a very wholesome show. And we, on a couple episodes ago, we talked about some of our best supporting characters of all time.
Great. Yeah, that was great. And don't forget the Little Rascals, guys. I mean, it didn't get no better than that. Yeah,
they're on there too.
I want to say something real quick about the Andy Griffith Show. I brought this up one time in church. Well, just an interesting way to look at it. Everybody talks about Andy Griffith Show as this. It's like a really wholesome, good show, good family show, right? Think about it. What does Andy do every episode? He lies. He's a liar. He lies to Barney. He lies to criminals. He's a liar and a deceiver. Think about that the next time you watch it.
Okay. Interesting. So one of our classmates, guys from Kenmore, well, Keith, that one, Sarah full name, but Carmen, that you and I graduated with.
Yes.
I'm friends with her on Facebook, and she had put recent pictures that she visited the town of Mayberry. It's not whatever town is in South Carolina.
I would love that. Yeah.
And she took pictures of the set. So there's the jail they have for, they have it set up like the show. They have this desk. They have the cell with the TV and all that. It looked very, very cool. So just maybe
I could lose myself there like for a whole day. I would love that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So she said it was a very nice, peaceful town. So that's one of my tops two, guys, the Andy Griffith Show. That's another one I used to watch with Mom. And like you said, just a very wholesome show. And we, on a couple episodes ago, we talked about some of our best supporting characters of all time, and Don Knotts made our lists as well. At least Keith and I's for sure, for Barney Fife. Of course, Bewitched. I just already talked about it, so it definitely makes my list. It's just fun show, great characters, a lot of fun, interesting concept. The concept was still kind of holds up. They made that terrible, horrible movie with Will Ferrell that they had no business making, but the original TV show was terrific. Paul Lynde, Elizabeth Montgomery, her aunt, that played. Anyway, just Agnes Moorehead.
Paul Lynde, one of the great characters from back in the day. Paul Lynde was great.
Terrific stuff.
And, a story about a good-looking blonde that had power over her husband. And, of course, today they figured out they didn't need to be a witch, just implants. So same thing, just works.
That's right. And the themes of that they took into the WandaVision series on Marvel. They definitely,
sure did.
They had the Bewitched feel to it purposely on that series, too. And then you already mentioned Hogan's Heroes. I used to love that show, too. Just the characters were all fun, interesting concept. And they were in a Nazi camp, for crying out. They're just outsmarting Nazis. That was the concept of the show.
Yeah, and it's one of the first shows that brought cultures together. I thought it was cool that there was a black guy in the mix. You had a black guy, you had a French guy, you had an Italian guy, you had a white guy. I thought that was great.
Yep, absolutely. That's where Richard Dawson got his start as well before Family Feud.
Oh, yeah.
Gilligan's Island, just a goofy show. I just thought it was fun and interesting. The concepts were ridiculous, crazy, nuts. But just that's what made the show kind of fun. And then two of my all-time just shows, period, came out of that 60s era. The Addams Family and the Munsters. Munsters to this day was still one of my favorite shows of all time.
I just got to watch an episode of Cheers the other day, and they were arguing in the bar who was the best, the Munsters or the Addams Family.
It is a good argument. It really is.
It's a real argument.
So just tons of fun stuff out there, guys. So good lists, a lot of fun shows, a lot of good memories watching those growing up as kids. So
we grew up in a great era.
Yeah, we sure did. It was definitely different. Okay, well, guys, looking at the time, we're getting close to the end of your. Any announcements, Keith? When we start with you.
None. Slate's clean right now. Looking forward to getting some Hallie's House stuff together. Another gift bag party to help the homeless. Other than that, no announcements.
Very good. Well, for me, I'll add again. You look for me on Convincing Idiots with Dean and Nick, where you listen to podcasts on video, and we are also on the Boss Code Network, as I mentioned before. Yes. And as Keith mentioned, watch for Facebook and our social media and Boss Code Network for the reality football segments that we'll be working on here very soon. Skinner, any announcements you have, and then when you're ready, you can take us out again with another flawless outro, please, sir. Yeah, absolutely.
No more kids. Another grandchild here, but she's not due for another 2 months. But no, just looking forward to my annual Buckeye Barbecue Bash coming up this weekend. Trying to get the backyard and everything ready. Pardon the dog barking here.
It looks great too.
She's something else, but no. Looking forward to the party. Always good food. Great laughs, great football usually. Chose to do it earlier in the year this year instead of at the end of October. So we're supposed to have some nice weather. So
yeah, be nicer weather. Good call.
Mm-hmm. So for Brian Fisher, Keith Porter, we're the guys from Gen X. We appreciate you, and we will see you next week. Go Browns, go Buckeyes,
go Steelers.
Stay strong, Gen X.
Yeah, and then use deodorant.
Hey, this is Skinner from Came From GenX. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button and we'll see you next time.